Okay, so just a quick video on under and over absorbing overheads, which is a topic that students sometimes get confused by, which is understandable. It's a bit awkward. I think one of the key premises of this is you have to look at budgeted figures. So you start with your budgeted, your BOR, so your budgeted overhead absorption rate, and then you look at whether you have under or over absorbed based on that figure. A little bit more than that. So let's start really with the BOR. So you've got some figures here. So the BOR in this instance, they pretty much told you, but the budgeted overhead absorption rate will be based on the business. So it could be machine hours if they're capital intensive, so your overheads are more around running machines. It could be by labor hours if your overheads are more labor focused, or it could just be by unit because you don't need it to be any more complex than that. You produce X amount of units, they all produce them pretty much the same way, and we just share the overheads at a unit level. In this particular one, we've got budgeted overheads of 180,000. We've got 15,000 hours. So we just literally do 180,000 divided by 15,000. So we can see that we're going to charge £12 of overhead for every labour hour. We can then use that to calculate the price per, or cost per unit, should I say. But in this instance, we're just looking at how much we'll charge. And so then what we look at is what actually happens. So the actual amount of hours worked, which are 15,800, will be multiplied by £12 because we said we are going to charge £12 per hour. So we do 15,800 hours times £12. So we will charge to the income statement £189,600. And so that's it. That's irrespective. At the top half of the income statement, you will include that, because you want your standard cost to be included in that cost of goods sold figure. Then what we have to do is look at the difference between the amount we've charged and the actual amount spent. So in this instance, we actually spent 192,500, but we've charged 189,600. Well, you can see we haven't charged enough. Well, that's under absorbed because we haven't charged enough overhead to our income statement. So we look at the difference between the two numbers, which is £2,900, and so we've under absorbed. So we've not charged enough. So in our income statement later on, we'll say under absorbed overheads, and we'll deduct a further 2,900 from profit. If it was the other way, we'd over absorbed, we'd add that to profit because we've charged too much. So if you look at this particular one, why have we over or under absorbed? So in this case, sorry, under absorbed. Why have we under absorbed? Because the actual amount of hours worked is more. So usually if you work more hours, you would assume that you would over absorb because you've worked more hours than you thought. We're charging them out per hour based on your budget overheads. You would assume it. However, assuming is always an issue. And if you look at this particular example, the actual overheads are significantly higher than we budgeted. So actually what happened here is the overheads were higher, and so therefore the increase in hours doesn't compensate for that. So what you'd want to look into as a company is why. But in an exam question, quite frequently it's just, is it over or under? We've not charged enough, so it's under absorbed. Hope that helps. Okay, cheers.